Let's get the obvious caveat out of the way right up front, guys. If he doesn't sparkle, is he even really a vampire? I mean, honestly. Let's get started. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia. Today we are going to be talking about Morbius together. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. All right. As we do on this channel, it's time to ask the big question, what lesson about film or storytelling can we learn from Morbius? Morbius is a movie that seemed to have a bad reputation before it even came out. Many people found themselves prematurely judging it, and well, I'm sorry to say, I was one of those people. And I hate being one of those people. In fact, I actively try to not be one of those people every time a new big film is released. I just don't want to be like that. Which begs the question, why did I slip up and become one? What is it about Morbius that made me break my most sacred commandment as a film fan? Well, entwined somewhere in that answer is today's lesson. And the lesson Morbius can teach us about cinema is this: how you sell a movie matters. The Morbius film was announced back in 2018. Filming wrapped in June 2019 with the initial plan to release in theaters July 2020. For some reason, those plans went awry. 6 more delays later, and here we are in April of 2022, and the Morbius movie finally exists. But here's the thing. Nobody was asking for it. My core group of friends are all ginormous Spider-Man fans. We all grew up devouring that 1990s cartoon show. Some of us read comics, some of us bought trading cards. All of us spent our time out on the playground at recess pretending to shoot webs and to beat up Dr. Octopus. We have Spider-Man in our DNA, the same way Peter Parker has spider radioactive blood stuff in his DNA. So, as Spider-Man fans, I found it baffling, interesting, hilarious, and kind of sad that when the Michael Morbius movie was announced, every single one of us collectively had the same reaction, which was, Morbius is just not a very beloved Spider-Man character. Even when he would show up in the cartoon, it was always a little bit of a disappointment. His story in that show was actually pretty good in retrospect, but as a kid, in a world where we had colorful characters like Kingpin and Hobgoblin and the Scorpion and Kraven the Hunter, some guy who's just a sort of vampire in a trench coat felt like a step down from everybody else. And that seemed to be how almost everyone felt. Sony really had their work cut out for them when it came time to selling this movie. So, the first trailer for Morbius drops, and what do? They throw a picture of Spider-Man at us and end with a clip of Morbius interacting with Michael Keaton's Vulture, who says, "Got tired of doing the whole good guy thing, huh? What's up, Doc?" The second trailer doubles down on this. Not only do we see the Spider-Man graffiti again, we get more of the Vulture scene, this time with him telling Michael they should stay in touch. And finally, we get not one, but 2 references to Venom. Sony's answer to selling a movie about a character nobody really cares about was simply to fill the trailers with other characters people do care about. Which makes one thing perfectly clear. Sony had 0 faith in this motion picture. And now that I've seen the Morbius movie, I am flummoxed because that Vulture scene is completely gone, replaced with 2 baffling mid-credit scenes. The Spider-Man graffiti has been washed away and is nowhere to be found. And most important of all, that Morbius film that Sony had 0 faith in is actually fine. It is a perfectly okay, fine, serviceable movie. So, if how you sell your movie matters, how could Sony have done a better job of selling Morbius? To answer that question, let's talk about another comic book movie from the past decade. Like Morbius, this film also stars characters that pretty much nobody cares about. It too is set in a shared cinematic universe, and the people who made it also had plans to eventually cross over with other properties. Let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. The trailers for Guardians of the Galaxy introduce us to Star-Lord, Gamora, Rocket, Groot, and Drax. They establish this film as a big, wild, colorful space opera. They set the tone and let you know you're in for a fun ride. And that's it. They don't surreptitiously cut to a giant mural of Iron Man or have a scene where all of the Guardians sit around talking about Thor. The trailer is just about the movie itself. Nothing more, nothing less. It just lets Guardians be Guardians. And the excitement it generated was enough to send people to the theater in droves. All Marvel did to let us know it's all connected was have Kevin Feige do an interview where he says, yes, this is going to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Period. None of that faith was on display in Morbius's case. It shoved its connectivity into our faces. It practically begged us to see it purely out of fear of missing out on an MCU puzzle piece. But fans, for the most part, are smart enough to smell that desperation a mile away. We could see, clear as day, that the Morbius trailers were almost going out of their way to not talk about, Morbius. It's almost like this movie asked us to go to prom with it, and it was like, hey, before you give me your answer, let me just make it clear that I am friends with all of the most popular kids in school. Oh, hey Vulture, how's it going? See? I know the Vulture. Me and the Vulture were like this. So let's all take Morbius's lesson to heart. How you sell your movie, hell, how you sell any product matters. And the bottom line is, if you have no faith in the art you are making, neither will we. That's all for Thumb Together today. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you here next time, and until then, adios.